viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church Live today.
So again, wonderful to have you folks joining me today. And yesterday we looked at what it's like when life is in harmony, when it's in tune, and today we're looking at when it's out of tune. And there's some interesting perspectives here from Christian New Church theology around why that may occur. And actually, it's not just the why that it gives us, but it gives us a little insight into maybe how we can start to get back into sync, so to speak. And it's this idea, folks, that in our inner self, that we have this inner and this outer self. And you think of your inner self as the better angels of your nature, your soul, the deepest part of you that's at peace, the deepest part of you that's home. One of the most beautiful teachings, I think, in Christian New Church theology for me personally is the idea that there's this inmost in there that is already in heaven, which is kind of cool to think about. You know, this deep, deep, deep part that's already in heaven. So we are not a faith that believes in the ultimate depravity of humanity. We actually believe in the ultimate goodness of humanity, and that it does get laid over with a lot of mistakes, a lot of rough stuff, and a lot of hereditary evil, a lot of all that. But that deep, 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 deep down inside, way beyond our corporeal self, is this inmost that is very, very pure and beautiful and wonderful. And a lot of life is trying to allow that to come to the fore. But we also have this external self, and the external self is always worried, always concerned. It just was funny little lesson in motion. Last night I'm on my email, and this little thing pops up that my credit score is down because 3 late payments, and co-signed with some stuff with some of our kids. So I got to sort of track that down today. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. But boy, can my external self make it out to be a huge deal, and can get worried and concerned and can have things catastrophized in a hot second, which is totally, totally silly. And I imagine many of you watching this know that kind of feeling where you can just have this one little trigger. And I think all our triggers are very different. One little trigger that can just send you, spiraling down into to crazy down pretty quickly. And it's interesting, folks, because this internal, external stuff, like so much of what we're trying to do, what Divine Providence is working on, is getting this correspondence. So it's trying to get them to correspond so that the internal is the same as the external is same as the internal. I remember talking to a good friend of mine, and he mentioned with his wife, they're older now, and he said, look, she's more beautiful than she's ever been. And it's because I can see the goodness that's on her inside. That's how I see her on the outside. Beautiful line. And I think that's what correspondence does. It's where we know that there's this integrity, and we can see it in other people. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. And that inner self, Swedenborg has this fascinating passage where he talks about the inner self, and he says, the inner self is filled with good qualities, joys, and blessings. Good qualities, joys, and blessings. That's the internal self. And our external self has all these worries and concerns. And one of the challenges is when we get caught out here and all this stuff, that inside stuff becomes inaccessible. And why is that? Why can we feel totally bereft of any knowledge of those things? Well, I put out there, it's because there is no connection. When we're out there and all those worries and concerns and catastrophizing, the last thing that's in our minds is any thought about the good qualities deep within our soul, the blessings that we have in our lives, and the joys that we've had to experience, that we've been able to experience. None of that is relevant. So it's kind of like you're talking apples and oranges, and there's no threads that go between the two. You can't worry your way into thinking about what a blessing is. You can't worry your way towards joy. You can't worry your way towards a blessing. That's not how it works. And that's why hell is so hell-bent, literally, on keeping us in that noise and to constantly stoke those fires. And all hell needs to do that is just the simple information for the day. That's it. Just whatever information's out there is good enough, and that's they'll run with it and take your pick. Could be any number of things. It's just the worry du jour. And we want to, folks, even like bump it out even further, because one of the challenges is when we relate with other people, we can relate from that inner part of good qualities, blessings, and joy. We can see that in them. They can see that in us. And again, these are God's gifts. These are not a way to sort of think of ourselves better than other people. These are just gifts. And we can connect at that level. And we can also connect at this noise level. we can connect with all this garbage that's going on in our heads, and oftentimes that will become even worse. Like get one person worried is bad. Get a bunch of people who start like spinning around together, just simply reinforcing each other's fears and worries and concerns. That's even worse. It just kind of spirals really quickly. And that's where, again, we want when that stuff comes up, we want to reflect on it. We want to reflect on the worry, and then we want to do something about it. It's the difference between reflection and rumination. We want to reflect on it. We don't want to ruminate on it. We don't want to just sit there and sort of stew in our own juices. We want to actually go, all right, here's something I can acknowledge. I'm feeling anxious about this. I can acknowledge there's a problem here. And then the next question, and what can I do today to address this? And if you can't address it, not a whole lot of use in spending much time worrying about it, frankly. So that's a lot. That's kind of a pretty big picture, but I think it's really significant. And what would be the part that's kind of the takeaway? Well, the takeaway would be just remember you cannot worry your way into what the good qualities are in your life. You cannot worry your way into blessings. You cannot worry your way into joy. There is no connection in between the internal and the external self. What we want to do is we want to come back to that internal self and try to see as much as we can correspondences. Now, how do we make it to correspond? Simple, 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 simple. Serve. That's what ties the two together, is because service is an external act that comes from a deep internal motivation. Very critical to remember that. And that service can look like a text message to somebody. It can look at going down to St. Francis Inn. It can look at saying hi to somebody on when you're out on a walk, saying hi to somebody. Sometimes it's very small, sometimes it's much bigger. But those are the things that start to align us and start to create a sense of correspondence where the internal and the external match, which is what happens when we go to heaven. So there you go, folks. Hopefully that wasn't too much. It just a lot of thought there, and I'm going to be boiling this into a series coming up in the fall. So it's kind of fun to think through it with you today. All right, friends. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears. For those of you who haven't joined us before, at this point in time, what we do is we take a little breath. We get ourselves centered. After we get ourselves centered and we take a little breath, we do a we do a meditation, a prayer, and a blessing. And then hopefully today we're able to say hi to folks on social media. We had some technological glitches yesterday, but hopefully those are behind us. So with that, dear friends, I'm going to ask you to take a little breath here. And listen to the bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's give a little cheery Facebook hello here. And all right, see, hopefully it all works today. Okie dokie, it worked. All right, a couple of comments here. Let's take a look. Tina, thank you. It's a really important message, and it's such the inherent optimism of Christian New Church theology, and it's where we would take a turn, I think, very differently than some other particular denominations. It's not about saying which one's better, which one's worse. Just I find it really interesting that here it's saying, yeah, in our inner self we have good qualities, joys, and blessings. That's to me brings a big smile. Beth, great to see you joining us this morning as well. Hope you're having a good day, my friend. And same to you, Kim. I hope you're doing quite well as well. Now let's flip over, see if there's any more over here. All right, a bunch of comments over here. All right, let's see if we can pull them up. Come on, Nelly. Please, let me pull them up. Yet again, a little technological glitch that is not allowing me to do that. So I'm going to make, you see a bunch of people left comments here on our, let's try it one more time. A bunch of people left comments here on our New Church Live Facebook page. But I'm unable to access that, a little strangely, but I will go ahead and make some comments, write out some comments to you folks. So folks, God bless, wishing you all